The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. These Best You EXPO talks are recorded in front of a live audience in a live event. We highly recommend that you focus on the message. As they say, what you focus on expands. Enjoy. Donamaree Dadou. In this talk, which is about money and love and how to have both in abundance, a master coach and accountant, Donamaree's vision is to facilitate strong, unified families globally. She assists women to get to the core of their issues, ensuring new decisions are positive, and this lady is on fire with devotion to her mission. She's a very lovely, bubbly personality, and it comes across in her talk, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Thank you.
So thinking about your life, obviously we have men, we have women in the room, we have all sorts of people of different ages. Some of you may be married, some of you may have been married in the past, some of you may want to get married. So therefore, this important subject of marriage is important to you. So right now in your life, you may be in a situation where you've got a toxic home life for your children, where you're having angry outbursts of arguments all the time, which you don't want them to hear. Perhaps your husband is distant and he's unaffectionate towards you. You're potentially feeling unappreciated at home, and you've possibly dedicated to your marriage commitment, but you long for more intimacy and passion with your husband. Now imagine you're madly in love and you're never going to bed on an argument again. In a different place, you could be enjoying your husband, booking those lovely, intimate, romantic dinners for you and surprising you with them. Picture it now, your husband or wife being the man or woman you'd always dreamed of. Feel your heart now racing as you embrace for an intimate kiss. When you think about life, you go from one place to another place that you actually want to be in. But what you need to be able to do that is something to bridge the gap. So that's where what I do comes in. Now, before I actually tell you about this, I'd like to talk to you about who I am and why you should listen to me. So before I got married, I had over 5 years of intimate relationship experience, which obviously didn't end up in marriage when I got married in 2009. I have 2 children. Their birthdays are fast approaching. My daughter will be 7 in March and my son will be 4 next week. In the academic part of my life, I have actually, from the academic and corporate side, I have been really successful, achieving a lot, and actually working for people such as Universal Music, Thompson Holidays, and TUI First Choice Holidays. And that's been whilst I've been training to become a qualified accountant. So that's obviously taken a lot of dedication, hard work, sacrifice. I've also been an award-winning Slimming Group consultant, and I've used all these transferable skills to train so that I could build a profitable property portfolio. And I've also used those skills in what I do now, which is coming and doing things like this and working with women. So now I do coaching and mentoring, mainly for married women who are also mothers. So that's just a little bit about me and what some of the things that in my background that obviously qualify me to be able to speak about the things that I've spoken about. Like I said, there's been a lot of dedication, hard work and commitment in all of those different things that I do. So as you'll see up here, the method that I've come up with, it actually is something that will improve your relationship intimacy and improve the passion in your relationship. It's part of my overall framework here, which I call the happy, healthy home, because my vision is to create strong, unified families across the world. So some of the things that I've come up with so far is my magnetic marriage method, my functional financial freedom, and holistic health. So why marriage? It's one of the subjects that we all know is not really taught in mainstream school or, as you're young. That along with health and a lot of other things that we don't hear about. You may be totting up the years in an unfulfilling marriage. On a daily basis, our children learn from what we do. They see, they feel, and they hear what it sounds like to be in a healthy relationship. 70% of married women actually cheat. And for me, when I heard that, I thought to myself, that clearly shows that there's a fundamental issue at home, but they maybe don't have the tools or the support to actually deal with it. And to be honest with you, a lot of these business things I noticed, they talk about being able to help you make millions of pounds and, six-figure incomes and things like that. But what you will notice is that the state of your intimate relationship will actually have a big role to play in that as well. So it will also have an impact on your income and lifestyle. So why now? Because unhappiness in marriage, when it's left unresolved, it actually leads to a lot of coping mechanisms. You may be familiar with those yourself, or you may know people who are overeating, they may be drinking, or they may be one of the 70% who's having an affair. You may be somebody sitting there now who's taken steps in the right direction. You've decided to go for counselling and done things like that, but you've just found that you still feel stuck. Relationship stress is a really common factor when it comes to suicide. There are a lot of suicides that happen, and to be honest with you, over a third of those are males. 42% of first marriages and 31% of second marriages actually end in divorce. So the time for these lessons to be shared is now. And the sad fact when it comes to children is that the amount of under fives that are coming from broken homes can actually fill Wembley Stadium. So now's the time to get to the core of the issue rather than putting plasters over the cracks.
If you're interested in speaking, exhibiting, or getting involved in the largest personal development expos in the world, contact us today at www.thebestyouexpo.com or send us an email to info@thebestyou.co.
So on a scale of 0 to 10, if you've got something to write on, it might be a good thing for you to write it down and just, kind of bear in mind after you walk away from here today. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much are you actually focused on your marriage? How much of a time in a day do you actually take and think about the state of your relationship? It could be that you're delaying doing anything about the issues that are there. It could be that you're just in denial. You're kind of like, it's all right. This is what everyone goes through. This is what happens in marriage. It could be that you're distracting yourself from actually finding a true solution to the actual core issues. It could be with your career, your business, hobbies, caring for other members of the family, because obviously, they need caring for too, right? So what you're going to do is obviously focus on what you feel needs focusing on at the time. So when you learn new things, you actually need to implement them. So you may have been on personal development courses or other things around. You'll see a lot of different stands and things going on today. But there's no point just learning tools and reading things if you're not actually going to implement them. You've all heard the phrase, practice makes perfect. So your commitment to that practice is what's going to help you have the long and lasting effects in your life. So, like I said, on the scale of 0 to 10, you'll know where you are with regards to how much you're thinking about your relationship. Also on a scale of 0 to 10, you can think about how happy you actually are in that relationship. So it's really good for you to decide to do things in your life and decide to, kind of move things forward. But, you need to remember these new things that you've learned. You need to remember how to do the new tools that you've put in place. And, there's all books, videos, PDFs, and it's really a good idea if you've got support around you, which you can have from a mastermind group. So whilst we're here today, I do want to give you something of value that you can bear in mind. This won't only be applicable to your marriage relationship. It's also going to be applicable to any relationship. So it might be your parents, your siblings, and this is called the relationship triangle. Has anyone seen it before? Yeah? No one else? Okay. It's funny because when you start doing things, you always see the things, so you assume everybody else has seen it too. So I'm glad that this is going to be something new for you. So if you get out a piece of paper and you can draw a triangle like this one here, because this is going to be really key for you to think about the roles that you play within a relationship. So like I said, bear in mind, this could be with your children. It could be with your parents. It could be with your siblings. When you look at this triangle, you will see these different roles. And basically what it's showing here is that in life, we can be in a situation where we're actually feeling like a victim of the situation. We feel like things are happening to us and we don't feel like we've got a choice to be able to change them. When you're in that position, you're often hoping that there'll be somebody who can rescue you from your situation. And I think some of the 70% of women who go out cheating, sometimes that's what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody who's going to help them get out of the pain that they're feeling. Then you've got the person who's the persecutor. So that person, what they're actually doing, by the rescuer, they're seen as the bad guy. By the victim, they're seen as the bad guy. As I say this, like I said, think of a relationship that you're in, and you may identify yourself in one of these situations because the victim is always feeling like they need a rescuer. The rescuers, if you find you're in a position where you've got a lot of people around you who need your help, it may be that you're often playing the role of a rescuer. All of those, as you look at that, different people have different ideas of which one would be better, which one's a better position to be in. But like I said, with regards to healthy relationships, really none of them are any good. Because the victim will always feel disempowered. I mean, this is the empowering women room. We're empowered people. We don't need to be needing other people out there to help us all the time. We need to get to a point where actually what we're doing is being able to find tools and implementing those tools to be able to help ourselves. So, that rescuer victim situation is not good for the victim because they always feel disempowered, but also the rescuer can also feel in a position where they can't say no to the victim because they're thinking, poor them, and like I said, they can be running around doing a lot of things that they actually don't want to do. They feel that they can't say no to because the poor victim needs them. And obviously the persecutor. Now, when you look at this triangle, it's not a static situation. So somebody who's in a victim one moment, so you imagine you might be in an argument or something and you're feeling like the victim in that situation. But if you're trying to tell your partner that actually this is, how you're feeling about it and they're just not hearing you, you may become the persecutor and you get angry and then you're going off at them. So then you switch roles within the same relationship, with the same person, but you switch roles. So these are actually roles as opposed to people, okay? Now, what the ideal situation would be is that you step away from being in the triangle and you're in a situation where you're dealing with two healthy adults. So when you're looking at that situation, there's respect between the two of you. There's a certain level of understanding that your feelings are your feelings, but the other person's feelings are their feelings. So you're not necessarily responsible for the way that they feel, but guess what? They're not responsible for the way you feel. So if there are certain emotional triggers that are going off and you feel a certain way, then what you need to realize is it might be actually a message to yourself. It might not be something you have to go out there and say to anybody. It probably is something where you need to look at the situation, understand what's going on for you, and decide to make a change. Because you've got to remember, who believes that you can change somebody else? Who believes that you can change yourself? There you go. So when you get those emotional triggers, it's often something where you need to think about, what can I change? What do I need? What is the problem in this situation? And what is it that I can do to alleviate that problem for myself?
If you're interested in sharing your story, sharing your dreams, sharing your ideas in the largest personal development platform, the Best You EXPO, sign up today. Go to www.thebestyouexpo.com or send an email to info@thebestyou.co.
I saw these lovely pictures of roses and it just made me think about, life in general, because there was a saying that I've seen somewhere that says that you're never, a lot of people talk about work-life balance and sort of this balance thing of kind of being in the middle. But actually, if you think about it, we're always either growing or dying. You're always going towards more or less. You very rarely are just in the middle somewhere. It just doesn't make sense. So, you may be feeling like I was when I was in my corporate office, locked in a building all the time, feeling like you're like literally dying and, it's sucking the life out of you. I'm an outdoors person. I love to be outdoors, Or it could be that you're in a situation like the middle rows where you're in a better situation. You're not in the snow, but you're still not thriving, you know? With the model I showed you earlier in the happy, healthy home, what I'm looking for is a situation where every member in the household, they're thriving, they're living this abundant life. And that is possible. I truly believe that's possible for each and every one of you and for each and every person that lives in your home. So that's where I got that rose from, because you can get to the point where you're living this unapologetic life. You're living in an authentic way. So you're speaking your truth and you're doing the things that you truly want to, and you're feeling amazing. And you know, you've got that permission. You've taken that permission from yourself to really be you. You know, who are you looking for approval from? A lot of us spend time making decisions because we're trying to get approval of other people. This is another quote that I love, which talks about a rising tide lifts all boats. We all have an impact and an influence on the people around us. And when you think about that, that's often the way it's talked about, like those around you. But actually, when you think about you yourself, everything you do, everything you believe, everything you think, and the way that you respond to your feelings, it has an impact on your home. It has an impact on your job. It has an impact on your body and obviously your marriage relationship. So that is where the starting of my marriage, my magnetic marriage method comes in. It all starts with you. So that is the first part that we go through. For me personally, like I said, so now I've kind of done all of these things, and I now offer women, I've already for the last year, I've been running a mastermind group in Luton. I am launching next month an online academy for women. So like I said, the first thing we will start to look at is you, your self-love, your self-worth, your value that you have in yourself, and why you think that it is okay for you to say what it is you want and really go for what it is that you want. And obviously I do one-to-one coaching as well. So I brought some, I didn't get a chance to put them on the slide, but just some things that people have said about working with me. So I've got here some words which are warm, expressive, accommodating, and, challenging you. I can be engaging, providing a variety of topics and understanding everyone's differences. Very positive and knowledgeable facilitator, and very inclusive and genuine with her motives to everybody. And then the last one here says warm, open, honest, good lead, welcoming and loving. So here's the thing. You've all got a choice. You can go away from here today having thought about where you are on your 0 to 10 scale and carry on with the denial and the delay tactics that you're going through. Or you can do something about it. You can make a decision today to do something different. I like to watch movies as well as read books. I don't know if anyone wants to take a picture of a slide or anything like that, or I could share it outside because my table's just out there. But these are a few movies that I recommend to people to have a little watch of. Have any of you seen any of them? No? Okay. Which one? The Matrix, yes. Exactly. Quite old, but it's funny. When you start doing certain things in your life and you watch something that you've seen before, it can take on a whole new meaning. So I do have a Facebook page, which you can like. I'm also on Instagram. But like I said, so far what I've been doing is a lot of in-person work. And I do have a website, but I am revamping that all and coming with my new launch, with my new online academy. So that will be an online membership section. It's going to be 4 months initially, and then kind of, I'll build it up from there and add in more models that I'm going to be offering. So like I said, follow me on Instagram and the Wealthy Wives Club page, and you'll see more of what I'm doing soon. So thank you for coming, thank you for listening. And like I said, because I want a happy, healthy home for each of you, I encourage you to take the steps that you need.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.